Hi Sagittarius, welcome back to my channel Tarot Z. I'm Z and I'm going to be doing your tarot reading, finding out what are the messages or the cards that come out in today's reading. Thank you so much for joining and for being here for the reading. So let's begin. Let's find out what cards come out and what messages come through the cards that do come out in this reading today. So the first card that we have is the Six of Swords. We've got some air sign energy with this. You could be dealing with a Gemini, Libra, or even Aquarius. We have the Five of Wands. And we have the Four of Swords, and it's in the reverse. But at the bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Pentacles also in the reverse. So the Five of Pentacles show up in the reverse. This does feel like an energy of someone who's in a space where they want to be able to make something right, where things may have felt like they had gotten off to a bad start, or things may have felt as though they have come apart between the two of you. I do feel like with this Five of Pentacles, this feels like an energy of wanting to be able to heal a situation, make amends, and even be able to kind of work things out. I do feel like with the Five of Pentacles, this does feel like an energy of being able to actually heal the situation in a way that does feel like it is possible. I do feel like with this Five of Pentacles, this also feels like an energy of being able to experience things happening and working out in a better or more positive way than they did the first time. I do feel like with the Six of Swords in the reverse, this feels like an energy of someone who's unable to move on. So this does feel like a sense of this person, when it comes to their feelings about you, about the situation, they are unable to move on. They are not over it. And I do feel like with the Six of Swords showing up over here, this feels like an energy of wanting to be able to kind of confront the situation and even kind of bring something up that is still kind of weighing heavy on this person's mind. I do feel like with the Five of Wands, this feels like a conflicted energy. So it does feel like you're kind of being put into the space where you could be a bit, putting you in a space where you could feel a little bit conflicted about what to do. I do feel like with this Five of Wands, this feels like an energy that actually even feels a little bit frustrating. So with this Four of Swords in the reverse, this does feel like an energy of wanting to heal and work on a situation, even in connection, where there's a desire for being able to make something right and make things go to a space where things are healed in this connection between the two of you and kind of clearing the air. So I'm going to clarify these cards. We have the Two of Swords. We have the Fool card. And we have the King of Pentacles. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Knight of Cups. So this Knight of Cups showing up over here, this does feel like an energy of someone kind of trying to be able to get your attention. I do feel like somebody coming from a more emotionally open approach when it comes to the way they're approaching you. I do feel like this person's kind of putting their hearts on their sleeve. It's an energy of them being quite vulnerable when it comes to their expression and even reaching out to you. I do feel like with the Knight of Cups showing up over here, this does feel like an energy of being able to actually go after connection. They want connection, and I do feel like they want it on a deep level with you. I do feel like with this Knight of Cups showing up over here, this feels like an energy of being able to actually have a sincere expression from somebody who's coming in. I do feel like this person is someone who is, as far as their emotions, this does feel like they are kind of putting their heart on their sleeve when it comes to being able to express something to you. This Knight of Cups, this also can be a pretty romantic energy as well. So I do feel like this can also be them being able to actually send a message through a romantic gesture. And I do feel like it is in a way that is very, in fact, it's coming from a space where this person is being very vulnerable. It feels like it is very genuine as well. But with the Two of Swords showing up over here, this does feel like an energy of someone who's feeling a little bit defensive. I do feel like to some extent this person is in a space where they don't know whether they can let their guard down. But I do feel like there is a desire to be able to do so with the Knight of Cups. But with this Two of Swords drawn up over here, this does feel like an energy of somebody who's trying to really kind of assess the situation to be able to ensure that they are able to let their guard down. So I do feel like with this Two of Swords drawn up over here, this feels like a bit of a guarded energy. And do you also feel like it's making this person come across defensive? I feel like it, especially initially. But with the Fool card drawn up over here, this does feel like an energy of being able to actually have a connection that does feel like it is one that is going to lead to having a lot of exciting and even adventurous moments in this connection. That's something that this connection can bring to you. I also feel like you can bring to this person and this connection. I do feel like with the Fool card, this does feel like an energy of being open to this connection and even open to being able to work things out. So being open to being able to accept and receive an offer from somebody that's coming from their heart. With the Fool card, this feels like a leap of faith. This does feel like an energy of believing what things could be in the future and being in a space of actually thinking positively about the future. I do feel like with the Fool card shown up over here, this does feel like an energy of being able to experience that, especially because your mindset is in that direction when it comes to being able to think positively and attract that. I do feel like with the King of Pentacles, this does feel like an energy of being able to actually, when it comes to a person you are in connection with or you're dealing with, I do feel like this person is somebody who is, I do feel like this person is someone who's quite responsible. I do feel like this person is somebody who's quite serious. I do feel like with the King of Pentacles drawn up over here, this does feel like an energy of this person also quite being very valuable. Viewing this connection as being very valuable. With this King of Pentacles drawn up over here, this does feel like an energy of also you're dealing with somebody who, I do feel like this person is someone who has a lot going on, somebody who has a lot of, it's like this person could be somebody who works a lot, somebody who has a business, and somebody who has a lot of responsibilities. So I do feel like when it comes to this connection and prioritizing it, this person does so from a serious approach. I do feel like with the King of Pentacles, this does also feel like an energy of somebody who's in a space where it's like they want to be able to find something that is going to kind of enhance their life in addition to what they already have for themselves. So I do feel like this person's in a good space and in a good place. And when it comes to what they kind of bring to this connection, I do feel like they can really bring stability, they can bring security. So I'm going to clarify these cards. We have religious factors. We have chemistry. We have true love. So the religious factors card showing up over here, this does feel like an energy of having similar mindsets or even similar views about relationships when going into it. I do feel like there's a sense of kind of coming from the same place when it comes to your outlook. And I do feel like when it comes to being on a similar path, a spiritual path, you do have, I do feel like with the religious factors showing up over here, this does feel like an energy of dealing with somebody who does take into account or hold themselves to a certain standard, especially when it comes to what they've been brought up to believe and follow. I do feel like with the religious factors card showing up over here, this feels like an energy of being able to have a connection that's strengthened by having similar religious views or spiritual views. I do feel like when it comes to being able to experience being connected, it does feel like a spiritual connection. And I do feel like this person recognizes that. I also feel like this is something that's also keeping this person in a space where they're quite inspired by this connection. With the chemistry card showing up over here, I do feel like you have chemistry with this person. But that Five of Wands, this does feel like having tension. And I do feel like that tension is also something that's coming from this chemistry between the two of you. I do feel like it's a lot of attraction as well. You feel like physical attraction, but also feel like it goes deeper than that. And I do feel like, especially with the religious factors card showing up over here, this does feel like being able to experience a connection where you're connected on a deeper level. And with the true love card showing up over here, this does feel like an energy of having a connection where The person you are dealing with, they do feel like is falling for you. I do feel like with the Six of Swords showing up over here, this feels like an energy of someone who kind of had to go away to realize that. But this does feel like an energy of someone who's in a space where they're recognizing how much this connection means to them, and you feel like they are actually feeling the sense of really falling in love in this connection, falling for you. And I do feel like even within a connection, does feel like the love is already growing in a way that does feel like it is reaching a new level. So those are the messages I'm getting with these cards for you, Sagittarius, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, Sagittarius.